Bendigo Dja Dja Wurrung in my grandfather's language, that I welcome you here, and I'm honoured to be here. Honoured with my brothers and sisters and my aunties and my uncles that are here as Dja, but I'm honoured that you're here. It's going to be a bright future for all of us. So please watch this space out here. Our bush food's coming back into the landscape once again that we talked about, 10 plus years ago when we set up our corporation and our enterprises and our businesses. And for us, it's about, putting ourselves back in the landscape again, and we're doing that today. If we really wanted to move forward into an agricultural setting and really to be able to bring our bush tucker and our food and fibre, DJAKITJ, as the main business arm of our Dja enterprises to support what we do on the ground and to show that we can bring our native foods back into the landscape, back to health and back to our people socially and economically, and to be able to set our future generations up. Basically that they've got meaningful employment and they've also got an opportunity to tell their story as well as Aboriginal people as Dja.
The Dja Dja Wurrung word, DJAKITJ, is about dining room. It's in space, connecting and food. So we see that as being really fitting for the things that we're going to explore here. In particular is the project around the farming of yabbies, and for us to be exemplar in respecting a species that's important for us in a connection to country, and then in a sense being good at that and country then gifting us what it can afford. So to apply that philosophy about the ways that we think of country to be at country, and it was great having a yarn with Dan earlier on about how people are embedding that in their thinking on how we even respect the water that has to move across this property from pond to us being mindful of reusing, not wasting, and all of those things. We're really close to closing off a proof of concept project around kangaroo grass, so borch. For us, it's an agricultural systems approach to a native plant that is an ancient grain. It's survived climatic events such as ice ages. So for us, as the first people of country here, it just makes sense that we give and afford that plant the respect that it deserves, and to think about using like carrot or tuber type farming technologies is to look at yam daisy, so the mern or the murnong that's referred to by other groups in the Kulin Nation. Because for us at the end of the day, in terms of being dispossessed, displaced people, is to have a greater prosperous position so we afford that wealth to our family, our members, and they need our help in many forms.
This really is sort of the tip of the iceberg part of what has been multiple years of work and energy and effort and decision making that have been done. So it's an absolute credit to see today come to fruition from that perspective. First and foremost, we will have somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 ponds. They'll be production ponds or grow out ponds. Those ponds will be 2,500 square metres in area, so water area on total on farm, not including channels, is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 13 to 15 hectares. We're targeting to put in 46,000 mature kangaroo grass plants. So if you think about how quickly we're going to see results out here based on a lot of work that's been happening in the past. What does it look like in a couple of years' time? Hopefully the other elements of the business, we have Dungal as well, which is the education, tourism and arts side of the business. I mean, can you just imagine for a second schools, corporations coming out here, learning about species, learning about farm, learning about culture, cooking up a feed of yabbies, going home happy and well learned.
I know that Dja Dja Wurrung are one of the leading examples and leading groups that are doing immensely important things, not just for yourselves and your future generations, but also for all Australians. I think it's really important that people have been able to get this property and to have this country, I think, for a long time, have the first people back on this country. I think it's a really important step, and to see the kinds of economies that are now being generated on country by people who are doing things that are a mix of their cultural obligations, but also their customary and commercial pursuits as well. And we're seeing that the emergence of Aboriginal people getting involved in the agricultural sector is starting to boom. Not just in the traditional cattle industry or the dairy industry, but some of these new novel products, such as what you're doing here, is really profoundly important, I think. And we know that there is an appetite within the industry, whether it's restaurants or whether it's other countries from afar wanting to get access to Indigenous products and understand the nature of the names and the stories that go with those products. The ILSC has committed $3.5 million to this project, and we're looking forward to continue to work with Rodney and the team to bring it to fruition. An important thing about this project from us, and I've been involved in water rights for about 25 years in Northern Australia, and I actually just had a meeting in Canberra this week with other First Nations group talking about water rights, or the lack thereof, is that this project is one of the first standalone projects where water is being acquired for commercial purposes, not just for cultural use. And I think that's something that you should be proud of as well, that you're getting access to commercial water allocations and you're using that as a means of generating an income. So hats off for you for doing that as well. So that's one of the first in the country that the ILSC has been able to support so far, and we hope there's going to be a lot more.
For us, for agriculture and farming and all those practices, you know, it's a really good opportunity for a young people to move back on country and have these opportunities, and potentially, who knows, we might have DJAARA people want to start up their own yabby farms as well, or own farming, you know, having cattle or whatever, sheep, whatever, but they could learn it right here. Can we get everybody to come up? Don't feel like you have to walk in a line. Come up and smoke yourselves. Be together as one.